Hi, my name is Devin, and today I'm going to be going over how to create buttons for touchscreen devices in a very simple way to do it. Now, I'm not going to be using the built-in on-GUI functions that are included in MonoBehavior. Instead, we're going to create our own very simple, very lightweight way of doing it. And I've got my webcam up so I can show you me touching my device. So you can see as soon as you write it, I'll be able to show it to you guys, and yeah, we'll be able to see it in action. Alright, so first thing that we want to do is we're going to create our C# script. Actually, let me show you the difference between mouse buttons and touches on touchscreens. So I'm going to call this one mouse button, and I'm going to open it, and we don't need any of this. Alright, so normally for like a computer game or anything else where you need to click on something, you're going to use the function on mouse down, and this will check to see when the mouse is pressed down on this object. And you can see here our class is inheriting from MonoBehavior. And if we go to our Unity reference website, which I can't go to now because my internet is down. Actually, hang on. I'm going to create a GUI texture real quick because we have to use it. I'm going to call this left button. And I'll drag it over to the left. And I'm going to drag our script onto it. Alright, so from the inspector you could go to any of these question mark book icon things, click on it, and it'll open up your local documentation for that. Alright, so here in the script reference you could see MonoBehavior and all of the functions that are already written into it. So you could see on mouse, enter, over, exit, down. So we're using on mouse down, and we're using C#. Yeah, so this is a function that is already written into MonoBehavior. So when we say on mouse down, Unity will know that because MonoBehavior says, hey, on mouse down, you're going to check to see if the mouse is down. Yeah, so that's how that works, if that makes sense. Alright, so in here we're just going to do a quick test to show that the mouse is down. Mouse is down, and we're going to see what object the mouse is down on. We could say this.name. And we'll make a copy of this and do the same thing for on mouse up. Mouse is up. Alright, so if I drag the on... No, I've already got it there. Yeah, alright, well I'm going to make a duplicate of this and move it over here and call this the right button. Alright, so now if I play it, oh, my face is in the way, isn't it? Hold on. I'm going to move these up. There we go. Alright, so if I play this, and you look up in this console, if I click on one of them, it will notice, alright, the mouse is down, and then when I let go, the mouse is up, on the left button and on the right button. So that's great for PC, and it will also work on most touchscreen devices. So if I clear the console, see if I touch this, it'll notice that I'm touching it, and notice that I let go of it. And same thing for this button. The only problem with this is, usually on games, you're going to have more than one button that you got to touch. Like a keyboard has a ton of buttons. Xbox controllers, they've got a bunch of buttons. So you're probably going to want more buttons in your game than just one. And if you notice, I can press only one button. It's like, right now I'm holding down on the left button, and then if I try to hit the right button, it won't recognize it, because right now it's thinking in mouse terms. So it's only expecting one mouse to be on the screen at a time. Yeah, so to do that, or to be able to touch both buttons at once, like you'll see on a computer this is no problem, because you can't have two cursors. However, on a touch screen you have 10 fingers and 10 toes, so you're going to want to use those to touch all your buttons. So I'm going to remove this script that we just made, and I'm going to create a new C# script, and I'm going to call this TouchButtonLogic. Alright, so in here we're going to create the logic for our on touch down and on touch up functions. So you can see our mouse button script inherits from Monty behavior, which already has definitions for this. However, it doesn't have definitions for touch. So we're going to write our own. And we're going to use, like when we create our touch button script, we're going to inherit from our touch button logic. So it'll look like that instead of mono behavior. Right, so we don't need start. Push that down, get rid of that. Alright. So, one thing that we want to do is we're going to, first, we want to check to see, is there a touch on screen? So we're going to check if there's an input of touches. Alright, let's go to the reference website so I could show you what touches do. Or input. Alright, so a mouse button, a keyboard button, a touch, they're all types of inputs. So if we look at the Unity reference website and look at input, you could see all the different types of inputs you could get. There's different functions like axes for joysticks and stuff, buttons and keys, mouse stuff. And what we want to do is we want to find touches. And if you click on touches, you can see right here that it returns a list of objects, or an array. So it's returning a bunch of objects. And then down here you can see a little example of how it would be used. The way that we are going to use it is, alright, so input.touches. Right now we have a list of, so we're going to check all the different touches that are on screen. And we want to find the length of this list and make sure that it is greater than 0, or actually we'll check to see if it's less than or equal to 0. So this means that if there are no touches on the screen, if no touches, then it will execute this block of code. So you can put whatever you want there. I'm not going to do anything there. Else, if there is a touch, then it will execute this code. And what we want to do in here is we want to check for all the different touches on screen. So it's not going to just check for one touch, it's going to check for all of the touches on the screen. So we'll be able to click 2 buttons at once. So we want to check what do we want to do? We want to loop through all the loop through the touches. So to do that, we're going to say for I equals 0, integer I, equals 0, as long as I is less than the amount of touches on screen, or touch count. So let's look for a touch count. Yeah. So this will return the number of touches that are on the screen. Where am I? Okay. So as long as I is less than the number of touches on the screen, we're going to execute this code. And then after that code is executed, we're going to increment I and look for, execute this code for the next touch. Current touch, which is I. And it does this for every touch. Alright, so what we want this to do for every touch, we want to see if the current touch is hitting our GUI texture. So this, eventually this will be placed on a GUI texture. So we're going to say if this.GUITexture.hitTest, and you can look on the reference site, it'll tell you that hitTest, checks to see if the thing was hit. Alright, and we need to find what is going to be hitting the GUI texture, which would be our current touch. So we're going to say touches, or no, not touches. What do I want? I want get touch. Get touch. And we're going to look for the current touch, which is I. And then we want to find the position of that touch. So what we're doing here is we're finding the position of the current touch and seeing if it is hitting our GUI texture. Yeah. Alright, so if that's true, if current touch hits our GUI texture, run this code. Alright, so anything that we put in here, it will run if the position of our touch is touching our button. However, we want to go a step further, and we're going to check what state, or what phase that the touch is in. So we're going to say if input dot get touch, just take this, if input dot get touch, if get the current touch, if the phase of that touch is equal to touch phase dot began, and again you can look this up on the Unity reference website to see what it does. If the touch phase began, we will pretty much use this code, and we just want to check to see if it is touching. So we're going to say the touch is down, not the mouse, but the touch this time. The touch is down, and then we want to do the same for if the touch has ended. So we'll say ended up. Alright, let's keep this consistent. So the touch has ended, the touch has begun. Right. Okay, so let's go back to Unity. And on our buttons, we're going to put our touch button logic. Alright, so now if I play it, you can see that if I click, it doesn't do anything anymore because it's looking for touches, not mouse. And for those of you who want to have mouse and touch capability, look for if-def stuff. You'll be able to do both depending on what platform your user is on. So, if you look up in the console again, you will see that, uh-oh, what did I do? Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so if I touch this button, you will see that it notices that we began our touch on the right button and ended, and it will do the same for the left. But since we are looping through all of our touches on screen, it'll notice all three of these touches. It knows that there are 3 touches on screen, but it also knows that those positions of those touches are not hitting our buttons. So if I do a touch on here, and then a touch on the other button, it will notice that I'm hitting both buttons. It'll notice the start and stop of each button. Yeah. So this way you can have as many buttons as you want on screen. So you can have a jump button and an attack button and a move button, and the player will be able to hit all of those buttons at once. Hey guys, thanks for watching. So by now you have all the functionality that you need to get touch buttons working in your games. However, you don't want to have to rewrite all of that script for all of your new touch buttons. So instead, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to make new scripts inherit from our touch button logic. And the result of that will be a much cleaner and easier to read touch button script. It'll look very similar to on mouse down and on mouse up, just like how those functions get their logic from mono behavior. Our functions will get their logic from our touch button logic script. So, thanks again for watching, and be sure to check out the next video.